Welcome to the Main Street Business Insight Podcast,
featuring the stories of America's downtown and neighborhood entrepreneurs.
There's so much about being a Main Street business that is intertwined with what it means to be part of a community.
The impact that it has on creating jobs, occupying vacant storefronts, improving the quality of life, like this is a big deal.
What advice would you give to other Main Street businesses?
Investing in yourself is the most important thing that you can do.
What was that experience like for you to reach out and, learn from others?
Any entrepreneur getting into business, I highly recommend find the people that you trust that'll tell you the thing you may or may not want to hear when you need to hear it, and who will stand by you in helping to solve your challenges.
We have some super exciting news to share with you all. Main Street America and American Express are teaming up to launch a new grant program for small business owners. The Amex Shop Small Grants program will provide an initial 250 grants of $20,000 each to eligible small business owners. The application is open now through January 16, 2026. So, small business owners, go to mainstreet.org/Shop Small Grant to see if you're eligible. If you are, we encourage you to apply for this incredible opportunity to grow, innovate, and support your local community. Find more info about the Amex Shop Small Grants program at mainstreet.org/Shop Small Grant. Welcome, everyone, to another episode of the Main Street Business Insight Podcast. I'm your host, Matt Wagner, Chief Innovation Officer at Main Street America. And in this week's episode, you find me visiting with Angela Mallett, founder and owner of the now 2-location Honeybee Sage Wellness and Apothecary, from her original site along historic King Drive in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Before we jump into the interview, a special shout out to Aaron Wiltie, Senior Director of Downtown Development at Wisconsin Main Street, which is housed within the Wisconsin Economic Development Corporation, who made just a wonderful recommendation for this show's guest. So I'm so appreciative for Aaron's assistance in helping me get all of this set up. Now, aside from the wonderful tea and incredible in-store vibe that you get when you're in Honeybee, listeners are in for a truly insightful treat as we go deep in what it means to define your brand identity, understand what market you really are in, which a lot of times I think small businesses kind of struggle with. And frankly, I had assumed it was probably the cafe arena, but boy, was I wrong. I'm not going to give too much more than that, but I think it's really insightful how Angela views truly what market and who her competitors are. And finally, how to become a master of your craft. Now, this interview was a true delight, so let's dive in and enjoy the show. Hey, everyone. Welcome to the show. I'm here in Milwaukee with Angela, as promised, for the podcast. And so, many of you know, watch the show. We get started with the journey. Angela, thanks so much for having me here.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Amazing.
Yes.
Yeah. Let's start on the journey.
Yeah.
How did this all come to be?
So I'll try to do the longer version.
I like how you did that.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah. So I am a massage therapist by trade. And so I got into massage in high school. My aunt lived kitty corner to this place here.
Oh, really?
And a couple blocks down was Lakeside School of Massage Therapy.
Okay.
And we would pass that all the time. I always thought that'd be super cool to dig into massage, but I thought at the time it was it's a few weeks training or something like that. Didn't know that when I really looked into it, it was a year-long training, intensive, 5 days, actually 4 days a week, no breaks. Unless the holiday fell on a weekend, no breaks. So it was really intense. But I got into that working at an internal medicine clinic, and I was seeing people come and go, and they weren't getting better. And it's especially this one gentleman was a pain med patient.
Okay.
And he verbalized that he knew that the pain medication wasn't helping them, but it was just keeping them helping them tolerate the pain. And then he had to take medicine to get off of the pain meds. happened. And so a friend of mine, actually a coworker, mentioned that one of her friends was going to massage school. And I was telling her I was always interested in that. And she's like, let's go, let's go to school. Like, and so I called, I applied, I kind of drug my feet until the last minute, but then, I followed up, got in for that semester classes that were starting. And that's how it started, kind of, right? That's the kind of the formality piece.
Okay.
So when I started massage school, I knew that I wanted to learn about healing with herbs and nutrition. But I must say that I grew up in Mississippi for 7 years of my childhood, and so I was always aware of natural remedies, herbs, and things like that.
So that was just part of your upbringing?
Yep,
Okay.
yeah. And I can't say that at the time that I was just like a dedicated student, but of course, as a child, you're being programmed, like you witness things and it sticks with you. And my grandmother, uh, her uncle was an herbalist. Now, yes, we talk about that a little bit, throughout the podcast too. So, but yeah, that's kind of how it started.
So were you like, before we dive into some of this other stuff, I'm sort of curious, were you just uber inquisitive and learned online? Or like, how did you like?
You got it. That's it.
Right?
That's it. That's it. So I say that I'm a nerd, and when I'm into something, I'm into it. And so I go in and I don't let up until I have a firm understanding, or I'm satisfied with what the information I'm receiving. So after finishing massage school, that kind of gave me a really great foundation,
Okay.
just understanding the body, how it works. You had to do, A&P classes, anatomy, physiology, pathophys. So I had that understanding. And working at that medical clinic, I do medication.
Okay, so you got two coming
Yeah.
together.
So that's coming together. And then knowing that there are things outside of the body. So I was already like one of the people who would be at the natural food store. Literally, I'd be in the aisles for like hours just researching, Googling, like, what is this for?
You were a
How to-
student.
Yeah, right. And so after finishing massage school, I just kind of dove in. And then I adopted teacher, online. I met herbalists along my path, met a beautiful family the day I finished or passed my national. They were out in Allenton, Wisconsin, and they owned a place called Nature's Garden Wellness Center. And Karen Urbanek was her name at the time. I think she's since remarried, but her family of 10, they were just like all into it. And so
Yeah.
I was driving up there every other week, every weekend to learn in their classes. And that was kind of my head start. And then that was like September and October, most of November, and then I moved to Nashville. And when I moved to Nashville, I adopted some teachers there too.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. One of the things that I was most, I know this is gonna sound weird, but I was so interested in. So my father was, he's retired
Yeah.
now, was a pharmacist.
Okay.
And so I'm very aware of the word apothecary.
Yeah.
And so with, Honeybee Sage Wellness Apothecary, that's it. That you just don't choose that name
No.
from nowhere.
Yeah.
So what was behind that decision?
Yeah, so a friend of mine and I decided that we would open a tea shop, but I was more interested in medicinal herbs and medicinal blends. And so I think she and I both, we were aware of the term apothecary, but I think both, like, how something comes into your focus, your awareness. In fact, that's it. Like that's
Feels
the job, right? And so I had a dream, even prior to my friend and I talking about opening a tea shop. She started out with me, but she went in a different direction even before we opened our first brick and mortar. And so I had a dream in 2016. I remember posting about it on Facebook that I was blending herbs and helping people heal, right? And so my grandmother's uncle, who I did not meet, he would have been my great great uncle. Uncle Buddy was an herbalist, a root doctor they called him in Mississippi.
Is that really?
And so I remember when I woke from that dream, I said, I'm summoning my Uncle Buddy and my Uncle Roy Bell on my mom's side. Like to do me to some mentors, right? And so that's 2016. Before 2017, we decided to come home, me from Nashville, her from Minnesota, and do this apothecary. So yeah, because for me, it's more than a tea shop. It's that. So it kind of keeps us, I like to stay off the radar, big pharma. I'm not here to, talk about anything that I'm not aware of. I don't know about drugs. I don't know about illness. I know about the body. And I know about herbs, and I know herbs are here, place here, long time, and they were meant to heal the body. So for me, that is like the essence of who we are. Like really tapping into healing remedies that have just been here since the beginning of time, even before mankind, and are here to help us heal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So very curious, I'm into the food and beverages sector.
Yeah.
I really enjoy studying, and I think it's really powerful, like all the news or nutraceuticals
Yeah.
to proteins,
Yeah.
all these kinds of stuff. And you chose tea.
Yeah.
Is that because of its delivery mechanism, or how does that mesh with the wellness?
Yeah. So teas are amazing, and that one of the teachers that I learned from, Leah, she had High Garden tea in Nashville. She still has that brand, but she doesn't have it anymore. She's talked about, as I was learning, how the delivery of tea um, helps to counter any other maladies or um, challenges you would have to processing medicine. So a lot of us have gut issues and things that might challenge the assimilation of nutrients in the gut. Um, and tea goes beyond. Once it hits your stomach, like it's your mouth, right? It's going into your bloodstream and being delivered to the organ system where it needs to go and just nourishing the body overall. And so, and food is medicine, right? Hippocrates said that food be our medicine, let medicine be our food, or some version of that. And so this is food. The earth that are on the wall here are food. The energy that we extract from them, the essence that we extract from them, and growing them in water and allowing that water to become part of the water that floods our body. It's just nourishing, and it's a great experience too. So what we've prided ourselves on is um, blending herbs and herbal teas that actually taste good, because honey makes the medicine go down easier, right? So I think being able to enjoy a cup of tea and really have that become a part of your daily, ritual, and enjoying it makes it easier to continue the regimen that continues to healing. So yeah, that's why we chose tea. Because I love tea. Yeah, it is. Yeah. I say it's like a hug from the inside.
I love that.
Yeah, yeah.
Really good.
Yeah.
I want to dive a little bit into the operations.
Sure.
Successful business owner, entrepreneur, and I want to start with location.
Yeah.
Okay. So, in real estate, they always say location, location,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And it's so important to business. And, I've lived in Milwaukee for so many years, and I've been on MFA Boulevard. What made you decide this location?
So before we took our first brick and mortar, which was not here, it was on 36th and Fond Life. You're from Milwaukee, yes? So you are where that is. Like smack dab in the middle of the city. At the time, and even now, it's one of the more challenging zip codes, or zip codes that has a lot of different challenges relative to, disparities, food deserts, things like that. I was invited to become a part of, or a member a business entering the incubator phase of a incubator space of a market called the Sherman Phoenix.
Yeah.
And it was just opening in 2017. Well, it was the ground was breaking in 2017 to open in actually 20. Yeah, so they started demolition in 2017, started building out in 2018 from a uprising that happened in the Sherman Park area in 2016, which is when I initially felt that nudge to come home and kind of help in the community. And I didn't even know what that looked like at the time, sitting in Nashville, like watching our community. Right.
Yeah.
And so I met, I was friends with the founder, and she happened to be in Nashville a month after I was home to Milwaukee. I was back in Nashville a month after too for a wedding. Ran into each other. She called me, needing some referrals to interview some entrepreneurs. And I told her I was there. She's like, hey, let's connect. So I did. Took her to the apothecary. that inspired me. She's like, this has to come home with us. I'm bringing it. Like, it's
Yeah.
good. And so she's like, has to come to Sherman Phoenix, which is like 6 and final. I'm like, I want to be on King Drive. She's like, hear me out. Long story short, that's where I needed to be. So my focus was underserved communities, and 36 and final, like, it again, smack dab in the middle. And the fact that we opened inside the Sherman Phoenix, there were 26 other businesses, 28 other businesses at the time opening as well. So we got, free marketing, right? So we were in the old bank vault there, which I thought was super cool. That was actually one of the selling points for me because I was really eyeing that when I toured the place. We're like right around the corner from the only bathroom on the first floor. So I was like, even if people don't know who we are, they got to come by. The pizza shop is right outside, nice. So people were smelling pizza. So anyway, that was our first location, but I still had my eyes on King Drive and the location. You asked why. This is one of the railroads in our city, railroad tracks. You know what I'm saying? What side of the railroad? You know, and so this side of the street,
the interstate that plowed through.
Yep. So this side of the street that I'm on is Halyard Park. The other side is Forest Hill, historic Forest Hill. Very much different than it was, historically. In the last 20 plus years, it's evolved tremendously. We're on a main thoroughway that goes through the city. We're in the downtown area, just a few blocks up the road. You're in Harambe, and that's a different neighborhood. So we're like in the epicenter, like in the middle of it all. And so that's what I wanted at the business, was to be able to reach all demographics. But I really wanted to be in a place, and that's going to remain the focus of our location that we intend to franchise, is to be in spaces that serve the underserved, but also makes good business sense, so we can attract all demographics, kind of be an intersection of health and wellness, place where everybody can.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
You wouldn't have known this, but I knew somehow we were connected.
Okay.
My first job out of college,
Yes,
was at the Sherman Park Community Association at 35th and Pond.
business organizers. It's weird. And we're on Sherman Phoenix, like same block.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I knew exactly.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
All right, sorry, folks. Anyway.
Yeah, we gotta shout out for the home team. Yeah. Yeah.
Now, every business, especially starting out, and you and I sort of had this conversation before we started.
Yeah.
You think it's just an overnight thing.
Yeah.
You open up, and it's how it is. I mean, like, since we've been recording, I mean, countless people have been coming in.
Yeah.
Countless people here.
Yeah.
It's really, really well. But I'm sure it wasn't like that from the start.
My God.
Like, sort of the early days.
Yeah. So one of the beautiful things about being in the Sherman Phoenix was, I mean, day one, grand opening was like none other for a small business, because this is a huge, tri-level development, lower level, first level, actually even more than that. There was some levels above the second. So that was huge in getting us in front of a market that otherwise would not have been fair of us or what we should do.
Yes.
Especially the name of apothecary, right? It's like, what that shit like that. Yeah. So, but even still, we're in a less than 400 square foot vault, right? And this space that you're bringing now is like 50. So we're in less than 1,400 square. Less than 400 square foot vault, and it was definitely much different. Our footprint was much different. We didn't have the ability to see people and serve them tea. Initially, I put a couple tables in that less than 400 square foot space.
No way.
But then we started to grow out, like spread out the more inventory we added, the more things people were asking for. Eventually, those tables came out of that space. We made a little bar. That little bar ended up we ended up taking up that space with more retail. Growing and growing. I'm on the side surface. So in that space, a little less than 10 by 10 room for me to do massage. I retired from massage in June of 2019. Intentionally, I was going to retire at the end of that month. I had a stroke on the first of that month. We can talk about that later. Yes. So a lot of challenges. I had a challenging business partner relationship, investor, friend, We just didn't know enough about each other, didn't have a strong enough relationship. That relationship started just a month or two before we opened. And so I kind of entered in prematurely, and it didn't work out. So that was a challenging period of time. So we were challenged by, that partnership dissolving, challenged by my dad passing. My dad went into the hospital less than a month after we opened. Stayed for 4 months until he passed. Went in December, passed in April. Blah 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 blah. All the things, so many challenges. When we moved from that location because we needed more production space, that was in the middle of the pandemic in November 2020. There have been so many different challenges to our success, but the fact that the community has really found this to be a staple and found the benefit or the value of what we do has spoke volumes to the success of our business. But it has not always been easy. And I'm going to write a book about that because I want people to know that, if you have not been aware of a person and their journey, you look at them where they are and you think, "Oh, this is who they've always been." And for the breaks, that is very seldom, if not almost never the case, right? They've gone through a lot to become who they are, to achieve what they've achieved, to gain the things that they have. And so I really like to be transparent in that, not to encourage people that, the things that you go through for me are like the necessary grit that it helps you to develop the necessary grit to sustain yourself as an entrepreneur. It's like a butterfly coming out of crystals. Like it looks painful, it is painful. You want to help it, but if you do, you ruin it. And so, though that part of the journey is so necessary, and I like to share it because I like to encourage people to embrace it and not look for somebody to come save you. Because sometimes you got to struggle. You got to struggle, and the struggle makes you beautiful. There's a song that I love it. But it's very much the truth.
Yeah. It's so amazing you mentioned the book because as I'm listening to you, I'm like, God, Angela's got like chapters.
Yeah.
Like everywhere
Yeah.
is like a chapter.
Yeah.
It's a story.
Yeah.
Meaningful. All right. So you persevere.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
I wonder if you can talk a little bit about because it seems so quick. Maybe to you it does.
Mm-hmm.
The expansion.
Mm.
I'll let you talk about it. But I'm really interested because I think we have a lot of folks listening, small business owners that listen to the podcast that are thinking about taking that leap, but are scared to death.
Yeah. Feel the fear and do it anyway. Right?
There you go.
The reason why I can confidently move into the next level of testing our scalability is because it's been a part of the vision from the very
So
it was Matt. Before we entered our first brick and mortar, before I came home from Nashville, I watched the movie The Founder. Ray Crockett and McDonald.
Yeah.
And when I watched it, I said, Ray Crockett was, that dude was something else, right? And the McDonald brothers were just, sweet California boys, right? Trying to make something great, share with their community, want to maintain the integrity of it. And Ray Crockett's like, look, this is scale. Let's do it, right? And so I figured even before we entered the first location that I would move into that project with the intention of building something that I thought should be scalable. If there's a Walgreens on every corner, right? And we have drugs on every corner. Well, not every corner, but
just about
10, 15 block radius, right? There should be natural herbs and remedies and safe spaces for people to gather, to find respite, to find herbs that can help them with their health aromas. And so I thought from the beginning, we were going to build something that's scalable. And I said, I want to be Ray Crockett and McDonald's. So I didn't want someone to come in and see this jewel that we built and say, hey, this is really cool. Let me invest in you. Take it off to the races. We lose the integrity of the business that we built, the culture that we worked so hard to build. and the love for our community. I didn't want to lose that. And so I said the only way not to do that was for me to be the visionary that sees both the forest and the trees, right? To see the opportunity for growth, yet also see the need to maintain the integrity. Because once you start to grow, people look for kinks in your armor, right? They're like, oh, they grown, they stop making the tea out of loose leaf. It's different. It doesn't taste the same. They don't do this. They don't work with the community anymore, right? And so it's a challenge that I'm up for because I think it can be achieved. I think that it has to be very intentional and that it's the intentionality, of course, is like at the foundation of it. But I think that it may be a little bit of a slow burn, right? It may not happen overnight. For some people, it feels like it's happened overnight for 7 years. Well, in November, we'll be shut as a business. And so for me, 7 years old is when like the true sponsor report says like everything is developing and coming in, like you're set. The program is like it's almost complete, and then you get to the side. Who you want to be next after the programming? That's childhood stages of development, right? From conception to 7 years old, you're being programmed, and so this business has been programmed for growth. And now we want to decide what else do we want to be, and we want to be a global community of homegrown healers. That's our slogan. Like our goal is to not just affect, our city, not just affect the region, not just to affect our nation, but to affect the world, right? And so if I aim for global and I'm regional, I mean, I'll take it. If I aim for regional and I meet, a couple different locations in the city or state of Wisconsin, that's damn good for somebody who's never done that before to be the first. I didn't have any examples before me, directly. So yeah, it seems new and soon for some people, but this is the word made manifest.
It's phenomenal.
Yeah, yeah.
And like
but it's tea is therapy. I said talking about from the inside. You're drinking something that tastes amazing, yet it's going to work for your immune system. It's going to work for your reproductive health system. You have people who have drank our tea. This one young lady called me, and her grown daughter was looking to conceive. She was pregnant, the mother of the grown daughter, and she was told that she could never have any more children because she had PCOS. She drank our Sunshine and Rainbow tea for a couple months, few months, and she's calling to get some for her daughter because she's 6 months pregnant. This is not me. This is the medicine that God gave us. You know what I mean? And it's in the earth. It's not, and I can't patent it. I have to share the ingredients. So it's not about capitalism for me. It's about creating accessibility for people who this has been a part of. As for me, as Black American, been a part of my culture for the beginning of time. I couldn't access, pharmaceutical medicine, or my grandmother delivered, my great grandmother delivered my grandfather. My father in the same bed that his grandfather passed in Salis, Mississippi. And the doctor was standing in the corner, but she did the work, using the medicine, using the wisdom that she knew how to do that. And so these are things that we've known for throughout ages, right? But we've forgotten it. We found more value in moving to the big city and accessing a doctor. You go to doctor in medicine because my grandmother and the one who's her uncle was the root doctor. She watched him go to the mailbox to get letters of people sending money ahead. She said he didn't let his mail go to the mailbox. He went to get it from the mail. So there was money in it. People were either sending money for a remedy, or they were sending money back to say it worked. Right. But even so, my grandmother seen that, moving to the city in the 50s, 17 years old, trying to escape, Jim Crow South, moved here, and she'd rather offer me Sudafed than a cup of tea. because that meant something that you could come to the north and you can go to the doctor, you can go to the drugstore, But this has been something that has been, a part of our life and lives and legacy, as it relates to our elders and ancestors for ages. And I just wanted to bring that back to the forefront. So yes, it's tea.
Yeah.
And again, I would stay off the radar. Some folks think that I'm trying to comfort them. I'm not. But this is how you maintain, you can either rebalance health when you're out of balance. Um, and it's medicine, it's food. There's no regulation. But I always tell people, because you asked a great question, how did I learn? I'm not a certified herbalist. I'm what's considered a community herbalist. I figure that anybody who has a body should be an herbalist, because food is medicine. Herbs are food. And I think that education is a huge part, because when you go to the doctor and you give them a list of symptoms and they tell you, oh, they feed in, right? And they give the feedback that you can try this medication, and they give your profile, like which one is going to be better for your constitution. They don't know anything about you other than the symptoms that you have shared. And that typically is happening in a matter of a less than 10-minute visit. We're spending time with people when they come in. We're walking them through some of the herbs. We're handing them resources. And I'm always telling people to check my science, because I say religiously that you know more intuitively about your own body than I know intellectually. Even about these herbs, I can share about the herbs, but it always astounds me when somebody comes in and they're like, "Hey, so what is Indusor?" Right? And I'm like, "Oh, it's Siberian ginseng. It helps with energy. It's better." And they're like, "Oh, I need some," right? Or they'll put out one of the, I mean, hottest named herbs on the shelf, and they're like, "What is that?" And I'll tell them what it is, and they're like, "Oh my God, I'm dealing with that. I need that." So I think even without us giving it much thought, animals know, you know, to go eat grass, to stop eating and go eat grass or to fast when they're feeling sick. Are we not that much more wise? That we should know innately what when our bodies will tell us. And so I just like to be a guide. I tell people I have blue rights. I'm no one's guru. I'm not the one that's, don't send people to me telling them I'm not doing anything except for guiding people back to the truth and the knowledge of what was given to all of us. Yeah. Right? So you check my science, you go online, here you have in Google, will tell you about each herb that I put in here, and you can read about why this makes sense to the purpose or the cause that I intended this blend for. But you're gonna get so much more even beyond it. So even if it doesn't fix what is broken, it will you still benefit from it. So there's medicine, there's minerals, there's cell food. So yeah, I could go on about that.
Let's talk a little bit about this. Is an interesting time. We were having this, we had our board meeting this morning. We were talking about sort of like uncertainty within the economy and everything else, particularly just for the small business person. We've got lots of consumer confidence issues and some. How are you navigating? Is that impacting you in any way, and how?
There's an awareness of what is going on. And some folks may think that I am aloof or naive or just crazy. I'll go with, either one, whatever. I operate on a system, and I hate to sound airy fairy, that I don't I don't gauge my life based on things that I fear, um, or what I'm told to fear. Um, if as I tell my story, and write the book, right? Nothing that has it's all for me, it's miraculous, and it's hard to even explain how I'm here sitting having this conversation with you. In the first 7 months of my visit, my dad passed away. I was his POA, so I'm coming to work, doing massage, opening the store, closing the store, doing massage, going to meet with his doctors, and then maybe sometimes meet with his doctor, all of that, right? Having challenges with the business partner. I'm a doula at the time and a massage therapist operating the store. so much is happening during that period of time. When I partnered with that business partner, I paid her investment back, and it was supposed to happen over a period of time. It happened in one lump sum while I was in the hospital recovering from a stroke, and $16,000 that we had, amassed over that period of time, I was left with $24. 6 days into recovery from a stroke. How did I, I can't make
You've been through the
I
storm.
can't make it up.
There's
And
nothing.
so with that said, I wouldn't say I'm an anomaly, but I I started this on faith, um, and not the religious focus kind. Um, I understand the power of the spoken word. I understand the power of intention, of focus. And so I believe that that is what has sustained me throughout the years. And I know that it's bigger than me. Now, as we come now, people think that, we're growing so fast. In the last 2 years was when I finally was able to trust again to really invest in building a team that could help me grow this thing. And right now, so when we opened this location, our 90-person Lisbon store was still open. We didn't have the team to sustain it. So everybody was like, "Oh, you got a second location, big deal, right?" I'm like, "No, because our brand was starting to suffer because we didn't have the management for me to focus on opening this and growing this, which was the dream, right? Yeah. And then keeping that open to serve the further north side. And so I decided to close it. But now we have a phenomenal team. I operate with a general manager. I have an executive assistant. These women are freaking awesome. We have a cafe manager. She's trained her replacement here, and she's moving to the third board. I have a team, and so I think that that is what builds my confidence in moving forward. What we offer is still the demand, and I'm just gonna go. I mean, business fail all the time. If mine failed, it wouldn't be the first. Yep, and it definitely wouldn't be the last. I'm not gonna build my hope on failure.
That's so perfectly said.
That doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
And so I trust that if I keep my intentions pure, if I continue to tell the universe what and why, one of my favorite books is The Alchemist, and it says, when you really desire a thing, it's because that desire originated in the soul of the universe. That is to me why Honeybee Sage has been sustained, because it's bigger than me. Milwaukee had to be crying out for this before I even came home and answered the call to deliver it, right?
So much like other people have taken ownership as well as you.
It's not just me.
Yeah.
I won a very prestigious award in Milwaukee. It's called the Mandy Award. And thank you so much. Recently, it's like a screen to see. I'm like, it's amazing. And so yeah, it was really cool. Won that and won People's Choice. Amazing. So with that, I decided to have my team join me on the stage to get the award. And both of them, my EA and my general manager, oh, no, you go. I'm like, I didn't do this by myself. Now, when I write my book, when I become an award-winning podcaster,
Yeah.
when I, am a world-renowned keynote speaker, I can take the stage and bow and say thank you and accept that I did not do this by myself. And that is Honeybee Sage, the wisdom of the honeybees that operate in a thriving community.
Yeah.
The queen is not, she's the queen because of her role, not because of her rank. All the worker bees help to sustain her life, her well-being, and they sustain each other, and they sustain the life of the drones, the male bees, and the baby bees. They do it together. Nobody works independently. And so this is the symbol of that, right? It's the womb, the phallus, the eggs, they come together to make a circle of life. I'm very aware that I'm not doing this by myself. And it's bigger than me. So when if the universe doesn't have any need for it, it'll go back to where it came, right?
Yeah.
And I'll create something else.
Keep turning. That is so beautiful.
Yeah.
And I feel like I always like to close with sort of like lessons, things you can learn that other small business owners you feel could be important to them or helpful to them. I also feel like you've shared out a interwoven of lessons. But any other advice or lessons you think use?
When I was in Nashville, And I had moved there, and I thought that I was going to get a massage job like yesterday. And I didn't realize that I had to go through a whole lot of red tape to get my massage license there. So I was at the end of my little savings, which was not much at all. And I say two of my last $2. I was in a thrift store, just kind of killing time, waiting to find a job, just busying myself so I didn't go crazy. And I saw a plaque that said "Work like you don't need them." And that was the first piece of that was the first thing that I put on the shelf in that old bank. And nobody understood when you work for something other than money, whether money is there or not, you'll continue to work towards that end. My vision has always been toward before we had the first brick and mortar, we're a global community of homegrown healers. I wanted to, and I joked with my friend who was going to open it with me. I said, I know where I want to be when I grow up. I want to be a professional space holder in the sense of I want to be, and so space holder is probably not the best word, but a space creator. Big space. I like that. People to come into to heal. Because the moment people walk in this door, and if I had $1 for every time I heard it, it'd probably be a lot wealthier than I am now. But and we still working on the dollars instead part of it. But this space itself is healing. And sometimes people don't need an herb, they don't need a pill, they need their nervous systems to be regulated. They need to come into a space that has been prepared for them to rest, to heal, to connect, to restore. And so, lesson, work like you don't need the money. Find something that drives you, even when the bank account is driving, right? And then if that will continue to drive you, and if it involves service, if it involves your joy, and it involves service to other people, how can the universe not get behind me? Work like you don't need the money.
Love.
Yeah,
We're gonna get a T-shirt.
yeah, yeah. I don't know whose quote that is, but it's on a little plaque in my. I'm calling it house. Right out. Work like you don't need the money.
Thank you so much
Thank
for
you.
being on the
Yeah,
show.
it's been great.
You've been a wonderful guest.
Thank
and
you.
I learned so much. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely.
So there you have it. Hope you enjoyed this episode with my guest, Angela Mallett, owner and founder of Honeybee Sage Wellness and Apothecary in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Now, there were so many interesting takeaways from this show, and it really helped me, and I hope you as well, to be more rigorous and thoughtful as to brand positioning and business identity. It's the foundation to which you communicate and message your value proposition, which is obviously so critical to customer acquisition. So huge thanks and shout out to Angela for participating. I'm going to be sure to stop into your new location here in Milwaukee real soon. Please keep listening and sharing out the show, everyone. We really appreciate it. That's going to do it. And as always, if you're a business owner and likewise to my place professional colleagues out there, I hope this episode has provided plenty of new insights, solutions, and inspiration. And as consumers, please continue to support your local small businesses and, of course, tell their stories. They're so important to our local and national economies. And most importantly, they promote and provide quality living to the places we all call home. And don't forget to show your Main Street pride by checking out our Main Street swag at shopmainstreet.org. I'm wearing something right now, as always. Remember to also check out our growing library of podcast recordings and other related films of the podcast on our Main Street America YouTube channel. Thanks for listening. Please rate and review us. And as always, be sure to subscribe and tell your friends, family, pets, neighbors, and colleagues. Until next time, thanks for all the support.